So let's take a moment to ground. Take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale with a sigh. And notice what you might be carrying with you this morning, physically, mentally, energetically. Notice if you recognize it, if it's something new, if the two things might be linked, so mentally and physically. Take another couple of deep breaths in through your nose, opening your mouth to exhale with a sound. And allow yourself on each exhale to sink a little towards the ground. Letting go of anything that might be holding you up, any unconscious tension that might be there. Noticing if there's anywhere else where you can let go. Anywhere. Maybe you scan through your body. And then once your body's physically relaxed, bring your full awareness onto your breath. And allow your breath to become longer and deeper. Adding the Ujjayi breathing if that feels comfortable this morning. So you can slow the breath down. Breathing in, breathing out. Make sure you breathe out fully, so don't rush it. Just exhaling all the way, and almost that the breath can come in, the in-breath can come in on its own. And two more full deep breaths in and out, and notice how your breathing is this morning. Is there anywhere that's tight, where it's difficult? Is it feeling quite comfortable, like you've got lots of space? And as you come back to a more regular breath, notice if you feel a little bit more grounded, present. And here. And I know that when we're at home, I was talking about this with somebody last week, when we're at home, there's a real temptation to jump up and do something. And of course, that's perfectly normal. It seems to be more present when you're in your own home. And if that urge happens, it happens to me when I'm following a class all the time. And sometimes when I'm doing my own practice, if that urge happens, just listen to it and notice if you can feel what's going on. Is it an avoidance? Is it just that you're somewhere else, that your head's busy? And by all means go ahead and do it if you need to, but just listen to what's going on there so you can learn about what's drawing you out of your practice. And it might be the instant gratification of doing something and just pausing and breathing into that so we can give ourselves space. Okay, so taking your block or cushion away, and yeah, you could let your legs come away a little bit further from your body and make some circles with your hands on your knees, make some circles with your upper body. And then as you're doing that, add the breath. So your back is long and straight or elongated, elbows are soft. And roll so that you can feel your bones of your seat, hips, contacting them. So you make the circle a little bit bigger when you do that. And then change the direction, still keeping your back upright. Feel a stretch in your lower back. Okay, and then coming back upright, taking your hands next to your hips. And let's make that movement now just on one side. So maybe you lift your feet off the floor slightly and you're really on that spongy bit there, and also on that point right in the middle that can be quite sensitive. And you're also working your core a little bit there with your feet off the ground. Is it possible to change direction on that one? Taking your weight onto your hands. Okay, then bring your feet down onto the ground for a moment and then go to the other side. Let the breath help you. Let that be the bridge between that flitting mind and the body. So you're coming more into the sensations of the body and then change direction. Great, and yeah, and then let your feet come back down to the ground. Just hug your knees, arms around your knees. Just let your head drop towards your knees, stretching into your back, into the upper back, shoulders. Okay, and then rolling onto your knees, coming onto your hands and knees. And we'll just do a little bit to work with the wrists. So first of all, just give your wrist a bit of a shake out. Let's do your right wrist. And then turn that hand over so that the front of your wrist there is getting the stretch. That's where it's happening. So you need to be really gentle and mindful. And as you do that, see if you can keep that arm straight, stretching the back of the wrist there towards the ground, opening your palm out. And notice it goes even further up than that. It starts to go up the forearm. Okay, and then take that, lift that hand, give your hand a shake, and then let's come into the twist for the spine. So we're taking that same hand, we're threading it through the other hand. We're coming down onto our right ear, just resting for a moment there, letting your shoulder drop into the floor, and then stretching the left arm up, if that's open to your shoulder this morning. So your fingers stretch up towards the ground, sorry, the ceiling. And yet there's still a feeling of sinking into the ground, although you're stretching those fingers up towards the sky. There's a stretch between the shoulder that's on the floor and that top hand. You're getting space in the back of your neck and your shoulders. And then bring that hand down to the floor and use that hand to support you coming up again. All right, so we're going to the left hand. Just give it a bit of a shake and then turn that arm over. And of course, you need to really listen in to what's available to you. No overstretching, and if you just press the bones into the ground, you'll be able to stretch gradually. You might feel the difference between the one wrist and the other wrist, and then if it's possible, straighten that arm. Okay, and then lifting that hand up gently because it's been in a weird stretch, and give your hands a shake. And then bring you supporting yourself on your right hand, bring that arm under, threading the needle down onto your left ear and rest there. Just let it all go into the floor when that left ear and left shoulder reach the floor. Stretching your upper hand up, and if that's not available to you, just let it rest on your back. You could even do let your hands come down to your waist. And then stretching up again towards the sky. Inhale, on the exhale, bring that hand down to the floor, lifting yourself up, back onto your hands and knees. Okay, so we're going to do a balance and a bit of a hara movement. So we're going to let the breath come all the way from the center, from the lower belly. So stretching out the right arm and the left leg. And then exhale, making a fist with your hand, bringing your knee towards your face and curling yourself into a ball. And then inhale and reach flat across the top, and exhale. And then we start to breathe out here. Big deep breath in. And the next time, staying stretched, your eyes look down to the ground. So the back of your neck is in the same plane as your arm and your leg. You could flex the toes at the back and press out through your heel on that back leg. Good. And then bring the right arm and the knee down to the ground. Just wriggle your hips, rock your hips gently from side to side. Okay. And then let's stretch out left arm, right leg. And first of all, stretching the toes away. And then as you exhale, coming right into the middle, curling your back around. Inhale and stretch. Exhale and two more. Okay, and then stay stretched out. Flex your foot, press your heel away so you can open the back of your leg there. The eyes look down to the ground. Okay, and then bring that hand and the knee down to the ground. And just curl your toes under and come back, sit on your toes. Maybe your knees are slightly open. If that's not available to you, just lift up onto your knees, and we could do that a couple of times. Just sitting back towards the heels, so we're actually stretching our toes in this one. Inhale, and as you exhale, sit back and making a variation of that if that's not okay with your toes. All right, we're going to do some work on the side, on the knees. So standing on your knees, send your left foot, your left foot out. Okay, And then your left hand comes down onto the leg there, stretching your other arm away, back a little bit. Okay. And inhale, we're stretching out through this armpit, through the ribs here on the side. Inhale, exhale, and just arching towards that left foot. So your toes are pointing forwards. Your foot's really solid then on the ground. Inhale and come up. And actually, sorry, I forgot to say this, but bring your block towards the other side, so your right side. And it's going to just help us with the next one. Inhale. As you exhale, you can lean down towards the block or cushion or whatever you've got there. That'd be a chair. You could have it high like that. And then stretch that left arm over the top and arch over so that your arms eventually arching over. But stretch it up towards the sky to start with, and then palm of your hand presses down towards the ground. Okay, inhale back up. We're going to do that one more time to each side. So sliding the left hand down the leg, arch the other arm over the top, and just check that your neck's not at a funny angle. So just give your neck a bit of movement. Lots of inhale and exhale. It's such a great stretch for all the way down side there. Stretching some stressy points, and then inhale back up, taking the block underneath your hand. And if you don't need the block, you could reach down to the floor, just checking that you keep your alignment, that you're not falling forwards in order to reach the floor. You just have your block on the side, and then that long stretch from the top of your fingers to the tips of your toes. I'm going to inhale back up, and we're going to arch with both arms over towards the leg that's stretched out, so your left leg. So both arms are stretched. You're still coming sideways. Just can't quite see it on that picture. Okay, and then inhale back up, and exhale. Both arms over to the other side. So one comes in front of you, one goes out towards the side. And then once more, just sweeping over the top, stretching your arms out, and just reaching over to the side. Great. And then we're going to finish up by pointing that stretched leg, so your left leg, and just bending that knee and just coming towards the knee, hands either side of the knee. And so your knees bent. Bring both of your hands onto the inside of your knee. That's where it is. And if you can do, bring your hands flat towards the floor. And I can see my back is arched there. So see your whole back can reach towards the floor. And then see how low you can come on your arms. So actually, even if that's difficult, you could take your block and just put your block underneath. But actually, you could also, if you've got the flexibility, you could come down towards your forearms there. Letting those forearms come towards the ground. Notice where you're feeling that stretch. Okay, and then step back up onto your hands and lift yourself up into a lunge. We're going to do another twist here. Let your right hand, it's your left hand, come down onto that leg that's stretched, onto the bent knee. So that's your left knee. And then with the other elbow, we're going to come across to the outside, open the hand out flat, and then bring your top palm, bring the palm on top, and see if you could just edge your belly out of the way so you can come into that stretch. So it might be you need to just scoop up your belly so it gives you room to look over your shoulder. Inhale. As you exhale, coming around back towards the ground with your hands, and get back in the same position that you were. And then walking your hands around to the front and just letting your leg come back into the position where we started. And then draw that knee in and just sit on your heels for a moment, or another position. Maybe you want to grab your block and just sit on that just while we take a break in between the sides. Okay, then we're going to come up onto our knees again. So it's your right leg that comes out to the side. Looking at your alignment as your knee and your hip above each other, and your toes facing out towards the front. Okay, so on your right leg, you're sliding that hand down and taking the top arm over the top. Inhale, exhale, and stretch towards the ankle. And then inhale, and bringing your block towards your left hand, stretching the opposite arm up and taking the stretch in the other direction. Inhale back to center, exhale once more down the leg, arching the arm over the top, palm comes towards the ground. And smile into that stretch, opening up through your ribs, waist, hips. Inhale back up, we'll go once more to the other side. And then inhale back to center, and then we're going with both arms over towards the stretched out leg. With both arms, you can stretch your fingers away just as far as your shoulder. I'm noticing that my shoulder's hiked right up there towards my ear. So I'm just going to drop that shoulder down so that the shoulders and the arms are relaxed. Sweeping your arms over to the opposite side of the bent knee. Inhale once more towards the stretched leg. And then inhale over the top. Exhale over to the side. Okay, so we're going to come in face the direction of your right leg and bend the knee, turning towards the right leg, and then bringing both of your hands onto the ground or onto your block, just there inside your foot. And just think about your core, about your center for a moment, and just seeing if you can almost scoop it up and lengthen out of your center, and that includes your lower back. So finding the length from the tailbone to the top of the head. So just a note about alignment there. Inhale, sorry, we didn't do that. So if you want to, you can come down onto your forearms. Notice where you feel that stretch. We're moving on our forearms, but I'm feeling that right on the inside of my left thigh. How's that possible? So we're using our body weight to strengthen, to stretch, to open the muscles. And then we're going to lift up and exhale. And we're going to come into the twist. So it's the left arm is going to come across to the outside, palms flat, palm comes on top, elbow sticks up towards the sky, and looking around over your elbow. Inhale and exhale. Can you take 2 more breaths into that position? And then exhale, coming back around when you've taken the 2 breaths. And hands come to the floor. And then we're going to stretch that leg out and come back into our starting position where we face the knees, the foot, toes towards the front. Okay, then drawing the knee in Let's come up to standing to give the knees a bit of a break. So curl your toes under and roll yourself to standing. Chop your head off if you're on video. Okay, let's do a little bit of a breath of joy to warm things up a bit. So knees are bent. And we're going to inhale forward, inhale out to the side like we're conducting an orchestra. And then we're going to inhale up over our head. And as we exhale, we're going to bend our knees and roll forward. So imagine your spine is like a waterfall and it's just easing everything and letting go of anything it needs to let go of. Your fingers might touch the floor, and then you inhale up to the forward, out to the side. Inhale again. Remember, 3 sips of an inhale and then an exhale. And you can take it slowly, or you can start to speed up a bit, finding your own rhythm. And in any case, let it put a smile on your face. And the next time, just letting your head stay down, your arms stay down, your knees are bent to make space for your back. And of course, if you need your block underneath your hands, go ahead and do that. And just rock backwards and forwards on your feet. See what that does to your upper body. Changes almost the feeling of where you feel safe without overbalancing. And then bend your knees a little bit more. Bring your hands onto the inside of your thighs with your fingers pointing, facing inside. And let's do a little bit more work for the spine. So looking up with your eyes, sit back with your seat so that if you're forward, it's taking a lot of strain on your legs really. So the more you sit back, the more you're going to be able to hold that. And then arch your back, let your head come down round your back and neck. And you let your neck go a little bit more. Inhale and look up. Back's more hollow. Exhale and round. Inhale. And exhale. Okay, on the next inhale, we're going to come all the way up to standing. And then just pause for a moment. Feel what's going on. Okay, so let's do a balance. If you've got a wall, have that behind you. We might use the wall behind us, or we might use the wall next to us. So first of all, have it behind you. Take your weight onto your left foot and then lift up your right knee. And bring your hands underneath that knee just to support it. And then instead of rounding your shoulders, lift your upper body upwards. Make some circles with the toes there. Change direction. All right, keeping the foot still. Lift up as high as you can. So that's why it might be good to have a wall behind you, or maybe at the side of a chair. And then taking that hand, wobbling even with the wall, taking just with the outside hand, see if you can open out your knee towards the side. Imagine how that's opening your hips. Good. And then bring that knee back. And we're going to, well, if you can do, we're going to stay with the same leg. You might want to have the wall on your left side. Squeeze your heel up towards your butt and then lengthen from the front of your hip to the bottom of your knee, making that longer towards the ground. The standing leg can be a little bit bent, just a little bit, and then let the knee that's bent, let it move back towards the other knee and even further if possible. So you're really feeling it in the muscles here of the front of the leg. And notice in that place if you're holding any tension anywhere else in your body. Is there tension in the hand that's holding it? Is there tension in the shoulder here? See if you can drop that away. So making the movement with as little tension as possible and just the right amount of effort. And then bring that foot down to the ground, giving both legs a bit of a shake. Noticing, well, this standing leg's been working hard, I know that. Noticing what your hips might need. All right, so having the wall behind you again, lifting up your left leg and making some circles. You can hold it if you want with your hand, but not falling forward with your hands rather, and making some circles. Okay, and then just taking the leg with your outside hand and opening out your hips. The upper body stays facing towards the front. And then back into the middle. Taking the wall on the same side as your standing leg. We're bringing the leg down to the ground, and then we're going to take hold of the ankle, or you might have a tie that you do that with. You might hold on to your pants, and you see that my knee at the moment is really forward of the other knee, and that's because I can feel a bit of a muscle strain here on this thing, so my body's just telling me I can't quite do that. It's not quite easy because, so you're just getting a bit closer to what's happening and kind of why and how you can help it and work with it. So if that feels comfortable, heel comes towards your butt and your upper body lengthens upwards. Bend your standing knee a little bit and just turning so you can see how that looks. So your knees are not out to the side but close to your other knee. One full deep breath in and out. And then slowly letting that leg come down towards the ground. Standing legs have been working hard. Give both legs a shake. And let's come down and lay on our back and squeeze our knees into our chest, because we've been doing quite a bit of work on our knees. And just pause there for a moment. A restorative posture. Notice where you are in this restorative posture. Where's your mind? Is it possible to use it as a restorative, just to let go and be relaxed? And then bring your hands onto your knees and make some circles. And make them even bigger if you can. Pressing your knees away from you. Rolling, catching your hip bones again, feeling of your hip bones on the floor, any sensitivity there. Change direction. And then take 2 big deep breaths in and out. Okay, and the next time that your knees are up on the top, just let your hands rest Squeeze those knees in towards you. Always a lovely lengthening for the back, for the spine, for the sacrum and the hips. And then release. Inhale, exhale, press your knees towards you. And at that point, lift your forehead up towards your knees, curling the back again, and let the top of your spine, just let it go. So you've lifted up, but you're not squeezing up. There's no effort in those shoulders. They can relax. We're just making ourselves into a little ball. Okay, from here, bring your feet down onto the ground. We're coming into the supine twist. So stretching first both of your legs out on the floor. Let your legs come about as wide as your hips, maybe a bit wider, so there's plenty of space around the back of your hips there, back around your sacrum. And then bring your arms out to either side, level with your shoulders, and not too high. Don't feel the pull or tension in your shoulders as you're doing this. And then bring your left foot up onto the top of your right thigh, or it can come onto the ground at the other side as well. And then just roll yourself towards the right, so maybe just with a bit of momentum, backwards and forwards, rolling across the back of your hips. And then keep the roll, so your legs going over towards your right hand, and then scooch that bottom hip up so you come into line more on the side of the hip that's close to the ground. And that allows the top shoulder, so that'll be a left shoulder, it allows that shoulder to come back to the ground. So your upper body is in the twist. Just imagine your spine, if you could look down from a helicopter view onto you from above, you could see that kind of S shape of your spine to the side. So we're just wringing it out, calming down the central nervous system. You could lengthen your neck and turn and look towards that left shoulder or left hand. Take 2 breaths into the shoulder, the left shoulder. See, on each one, if you can relax it a little bit more towards the ground. And then if it feels good, you could bring your right hand onto the top of your left knee. And just use that to explore deeper in the stretch. Notice the parts that don't want to play today. The parts that may be different from before. So it's involving your neck, side of your hips, your arms. Allow your face to be soft. And then we're going to release both hands back to the ground. Bring your head back into the middle. Roll yourself back. Hip back of the hips come onto the ground, and bring your foot to support you so that you can scooch your hips so that you come onto the back of your hip bones. All right, we're going to the other side. So the right foot comes onto the top of the left thigh. Arms are outstretched in a T shape if possible. We'll just roll a couple of times. Roll and notice where your stability is and where it feels like you can roll and you can't quite roll. Just exploring your back there. And then on the roll, keep the knee going over towards the left. Scooch the hip underneath you if you didn't do that already. Lengthen your neck and look towards your, or over your right shoulder. And then if it feels good, that left hand comes up onto the top of the right knee. And notice if there's any holding on there, if there's anywhere that's tight, can you let it go? Can you just be in that posture without really doing. You've made yourself so comfortable that you can just be there. Face is soft, eyes are soft. And then inhale, exhaling your head back into the middle, rolling your hips back. Feet come to touch the ground. Bend your knees. And just lifting your hips away from the ground for a moment and just rock your hips from side to side. Okay, and then curl, hook your knees into your chest. And again, roll across your back from side to side. Ooh, maybe rolling over. Okay, let's give the legs another stretch in the happy baby pose. So reach inside your feet. You take hold of your bottom of the sole of your foot with your hand, and then just start by stretching out one leg. See, it might be you take your toe or your foot or even your pants if you can't get there, back of your leg maybe. And then bend and stretch. Feel where that movement's coming from. Maybe it's coming from your lower back, from your hips. And then take that movement to the opposite leg. And then see if you can take both of your legs, kind of legs and arms, and maybe bring your head off the ground. And just staying there and finding any other places where you can use this as a lovely stretch. And then as you exhale, hug your knees into your chest. Really take your whole arms around your knees and give yourself a hug. And then releasing your legs, roll yourself over, bringing yourself up to sitting. We're going to do the alternate nostril breathing. So Nadi Shodhana. So making yourself comfortable. Notice if you cross your legs in automatic style and maybe you want to give yourself a change and cross them the other way so that the other hip starts to open as well. So we're going to use our right hand, ring finger and thumb. We can use the index finger and the middle finger can press up towards our third eye, so just right in the center of our forehead. This breath is really nice for balancing the right and the left side of the brain. And very calming, brings your focus inside. So if you are a bit scattered, doing lots of little things, then it might just ground you into a quieter place. So bring your thumb close to your right nostril. And take a couple of breaths in and out. And we're going to start inhaling through the left nostril. So we'll close the right nostril gently with the thumb and we'll inhale through left. And then we'll close left with the ring finger. Both nostrils are closed. We're holding the breath in. We open the right nostril and we breathe out through right, all the way out. We breathe in through right, long, slow, deep breath. We close right nostril with the right thumb. We're holding the breath. We open left and we breathe out through left. We breathe in through left. And hold. Open right. Breathe out through right. Breathe in through right. Noticing if any of the rest of your body's got a little bit scrunched up in this, relax, so keeping it all relaxed. Your face is relaxed. We're breathing out through left. Breathing in through left. Hold. Breathing out through right. And then making the next few rounds in your own time. It might be that you want to lengthen the breaths or lengthen the hold or slow it down slower than I was doing it. Don't worry if you lose the rhythm. Starting again. And one more round. We finish by breathing out through the left nostril. It's the cooler nostril, the side of the moon, the more yin side. And as we breathe out through the left nostril, we let our hands come down to rest. And just take a moment to feel. Okay, so we're going to move into Savasana. If there's any posture that you'd like to do or movement before you move into Savasana, go ahead and do that. And when you're ready, you come and lay on the ground. Feet a bit more wide open than your hips. Makes a big difference to how your hips rest there. Lifting up your shoulders and just lifting and lengthening your back, setting your shoulders down, tucking your chin towards your chest. And if possible, opening your palms upwards in a receiving position. Notice if your face is expressionless, soft eyes gently resting. Brow smooth, jaw relaxed. And your awareness to your feet, to your toes, to all the bones of your foot, and perhaps noticing space in between the bones, in between the joints of the toes themselves. Space around the ankles and heels. Space so that everything can function easily without being hindered. All the fluids are flowing, or the energy's flowing. Feeling space through your calf muscles and shins. And space in your knee joints, front and back, and all those bones in your knees. The knees love space. The knees hold on to so many stories of life. They're doing a big support job a lot of the time, and they can carry a lot of weight. So you see, you can let go of any of that just for now. Feeling your thighs big and heavy. Space on the inside, space on the outside. Feeling your hips, hip bones, and pelvic, almost like you could imagine your pelvic bowl, like a golden bowl, holding all of its precious organs and attachments. Also very supportive. Notice space in there, in between all of your inner organs. Space in your hip joints, ball and socket, so it can move freely. Moving to your spine, space in between all of the vertebrae, even the ones that you know there's not much space in between. And space between your spine and the muscles of your back. Space in the muscles, in all of the cells of the muscles. So much space that there's no tension left. In the shoulder blades and the shoulders, also maybe like, almost like there's a balloon inside your shoulders that can feel like space. And the back of your neck. And your arms floating in space. Palms floating. And they come to land on the ground. There's lots of space inside and space around. Space across the front of your chest. And you could imagine space around your heart and your lungs. And your ribs and your diaphragm. And your abdomen, your belly. Solar plexus, loads of space, so everything can move and function and come to a place of rest when it needs to. Taking the next few moments, enjoying that feeling of spaciousness inside, joining with the spaciousness outside, space in your brain. Enjoying the next few moments of space. Noticing again your breathing, inviting some movement into your fingers and your toes. And introducing some movement into other parts of your body, feeling the space as you move. And then move into a position that feels nurturing and feels the next place to go to. Maybe you land on your side and hug your knees up. And then rolling yourself up to sitting. And as you come up to sitting, just let's give ourselves a big hug. So crossing your arms and touching your hands onto your back. And just a big hug for coming to practice this morning. Breathe into that a couple of times, breathing into the hug. And then sliding your hands in the front of your heart. Bowing your head below your heart. Big thank you to yourself coming to practice this morning, joining me to practice. And notice if there's an intention from your class, or maybe there's no intention, there's no pressure to take anything away, physically or mentally. It's just there. And then exhale your eyes and your hands. Namaste.